Yo, what up guys, Travic here, and today I want to talk about my plans for Season 11's Project Diablo 2. Now, if you've seen my last video about Season 11, you know that I am starting Assassin, and you know my plan for Assassin was to start fire traps, go into lightning traps, and eventually be able to farm that beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Chaos Claw to get me on my journey through maps. Now, my gear for this video is going to be outright most minimum of minimum gear to really get you started, and I'm going to show you a little bit of progression, how to build your character. The idea behind this video is it's like day 2 of the league, day 3 of the league. You're talking about the most minimal of minimal progression to push you into maps, to get you farming smoothly, and to get you to be able to either, if you want to push this character further or transition into something else. For me personally, I know I want to start with Chaos Claw and I want to be able to farm, and then I'm going to make a decision on if I want to stay as an assassin to do some bossing again, or maybe convert back to a paladin, or just kind of see what my options look like by day 2, by day 3, and just start building up a little bit of currency and a little bit of wealth. Diablo 2 is all about speed and making your character go as fast as possible, because ideally, to make the most wealth, you kill the most mobs per hour. So that's my goal. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about the outright most minimum gear, what we're expected to do, how it's going to work, and pretty much just kind of go from there. First and foremost, our character is level 87 in this video. We haven't really juiced it up. We're not wearing crazy gear. We've put in enough strength to just equip our gear, enough dex to just equip our gear, and dump the rest of our points into vitality. As far as our character stats go, we've maxed out Claw and Dagger Mastery. We've maxed out Venom and its synergies Cobra Strike. We put 1 point into Tiger Strike. We've maxed out Blade Shield, and we put a couple points in the Burst of Speed and a couple points in the Weapon Block. Ideally, as you get more gear and better off, you'll refine this a little bit and it'll go a little smoother. Our character's gear is nothing to write home about. It is a regular War Fist that is made into a Chaos. We have Venom Grip gloves because they give us a little bit of lifesteal. We did manage to put on a Raven. You can even take this off, it won't matter. A crummy ass Nagel ring, a Treachery, which at this stage you should be able to put together, a Lore helmet, a Jade Talon, as this is a fantastic offhand for this setup to get started, but we can even take this off eventually too, and just very basic boots to get us rolling. Today's video, we're going to showcase a couple of different maps and just what to really expect. The charms in our inventory don't really do anything. They give us a little bit of resistances to help our resistances out, and that's pretty much it. The idea behind the charms in our inventory is these are just random things that you should be able to find on the floor, you know, very basic resistances. Yes, I know somebody's going to be like, oh my god, you have all res life. Right, you'll probably find some random like 20, 10, 4 something charm and stick it in your inventory slot. These are just random. They have no rhyme or reason. These are not min-max charms. They're absolutely nothing going on. So let's talk about it. Let's get rolling and let's see what's going on. First and foremost, you do need to be able to hit mobs. So that's why we have a Raven Frost on, as it gives us a lot of, you know, attack rating. Attack rating is really nice. But let's jump into a map and see what it looks like. So first and foremost, we're going to jump into a map. We're going to buff ourselves with our buffs. We're going to put on our Venom, and we're going to see that we do quite a lot of damage, you know, relatively for early in the league. To mention again, this is the idea setup is it's like a day 2, hour 29, 30 or something like that, and you're not expected to have insanely good gear. Now, the way this character works is it's pretty simple. You're going to come up to a mob, you're going to hit it, you're going to attempt to hit it, you're going to attempt to hit it again, and you're going to build up these stacks of, what is it called, Tiger Strike, so you have a little bit of extra damage, a little bit of extra AoE to maintain your stacks, and then you're just going to right click your way through the entire map, and you're going to see everything start to fall over without any problems. And you know, we're not doing a whole lot of damage. This character can scale pretty much to the moon, and you see like packs of mobs in tier 1 maps relatively fall right over. Even did the same thing with this, you know, the champion mob. We just hit it, it dies, you know, not a big deal at all. And as we get a little bit more gear and a little bit more gear and a little bit more gear, start to go faster and start to go faster and start to go faster. Now, the idea behind the Jade Talon is it gives us some mana leash, it gives us some damage, it gives us some resistances, but we can still take this off and we can still kill the mobs that we're fighting. So even if we had just a Chaos Claw, we would be able to go through this map without a whole lot of issues at all. You would like a second claw. A second claw does add a lot to your damage, so you kind of do want to pick up a second claw, but anything that you put in the spot would be absolutely wonderful and just really help you along the way. Ideally, until you have like dual leech somewhere or a source of mana leech, you're probably going to want to use that J talent. It should be, in theory, relatively cheap, and you want to, you know, make sure that you are able to sustain yourself without having to do what I'm doing right now, which is like run all around, put pots in my bags again, and just fix all your problems. But you can see none of these mobs really cause too much of a threat. We're able to leech our way back to full, no problems at all. And overall, the map, you know, in itself is relatively simple and straightforward. Yes, you will die. Yes, you will have issues, and yeah, you'll have problems until you cap your resistances, which this is also helping us really do. Now, the thing that I want to point out a lot is that you don't need a whole lot of gear to do this. You see, I don't even have my amulet on. Like, if I had my amulet on and had a little bit more attack rate and things would a little bit easier, as I'd have better chance to hit. Other things that you can do early in the league to really push this character up to the next stages is to get claws in your offhand. You're gonna notice right away that this claw has +3 to venom and this claw has +3 to venom. You saw when I, you know, buffed myself before using those claws, I only have 5,000 damage. Even with my Whirlwind on and I put my Whirlwind, it's only 5,900. If I swap and I buff myself with my Venom Claws, we get a little bit of extra damage. Now, the real cool thing about this character is you see in a tier 1 map when you have both Mana Leech, Life Leech, Resistances, and you cap your stuff out, you went through a tier 1 map really well. There wasn't a whole problem at all. And we should see the exact same in this tier 2 map, assuming all goes well and I don't just like XDD myself. Now, once again, you're just going to want to get some mobs out. You're going to want to get up your Tiger Strike buffs so that you have your Tiger Strike buffs. And then we're just kind of off to the races here, where you can see in a very basic tier 2 map where we don't even have our Atlas on, we're able to, once again, just start clearing these monsters. Something to note with Whirlwind that's really important is you cannot use any pots while you're whirlwinding around. So it makes it a little bit difficult, which is why one of the reasons why we died in that last map. You want to make sure that you have nice controlled whirlwinds so you don't accidentally get caught off guard whirlwinding across the map like this when you can't stop, because if you take a whole bunch of damage and you don't leech, you're just going to die. Now you see tier 2 maps, like no problems at all. You're able to go through these, just very simple. Everything is dying. Everything is nice and smooth, and you'll be able to farm tier 2 maps just as easy as you'll be able to farm tier 1 maps. The big takeaway from all of this is that our weapons are what is essentially what's carrying you. Very basic, like we do it again, we take this off, we start seeing we can kill once again, mobs just fall right over. Ideally, we have a second weapon on, and things start to go, you know, smoother because of the second weapon. So, you know, make sure you pick up a second weapon. Are there better gear that you can be getting? Better min-maxy gear than Venom Grips and some Nat Boots or Random Niggle Ring? Of course there's better min-max gear. Absolutely there's better min-max gear. Do we want to plan around min-max gear? We don't yet, simply due to the fact that it is day, you know, like I had mentioned, day 2, hour X of the league, and we might not have access to that, and we want to know the bare minimum that gets us to where we need to be, because if you can't get to the end game gear, you don't have a plan to the end game gear, you're never going to be able to get to that end game gear. Now you see these maps, relatively simple, straightforward. You should not have a problem chain farming tier 1 maps, tier 2 maps, and just kind of getting the ball going. You may run into a little bit of issue going into tier 3 maps. You know, if we just open up this random Blood Moon map and we put our amulet back on, so we just have a random Blood Moon map. We haven't spent any time at all looking at any of the map mods because this build can do all of the map mods without any problems. And we come into here and we start like doing, oh shit, wrong weapons. You see me come into here, we do relatively good damage. Like, especially when we get amp damage up. These cows are going to fall over. Now your tier 3 maps, until you have better gear, you will not blast through these at the speed of light. These will take a little bit of time to get through. Just like your regular maps, your tier 1 maps, your tier 2 maps will go a lot faster. Your tier 3 maps will take a little bit longer. But as you get a little bit more gear, and a little bit more gear, and a little bit more gear, it will go faster and faster and faster, and you'll have less and less problems And you see, as you have a little bit of gear on, you know, there's really not a whole lot of fear of dying, and you're able to just kind of like push through content relatively safely. So the character in itself is just like an absolute monster of a farmer. Now, how are you going to go about this? What are your plans? How are you going to progress it? Well, eventually you can get, you know, all the good stuff. You get your fortitude armor, your material might, you know, you can craft a nice offhanded claw. There's like a whole different variety of things that you can do with this character. I ended up, like I mentioned, playing this character back in season 10. It was my be-all, end-all, and it was just an absolute monster of a farming character, and it provides you with everything that you need. So let's recap. First and foremost, you want to have Chaos Claw. Chaos Claw is going to be your be-all, end-all, bread and butter. You're going to want to make sure that you use it with your Venom. Venom is very important for extra damage. We're going to want to make sure that we max out Venom and its synergies, which is Cobra Strike. We're going to want to make sure that we have the 1 point into Tiger Strike, which we always need at least 1 point to get Cobra Strike going. Tiger Strike's going to give us a little bit of extra splash radius, a little bit of extra everything that we need to make the, you know, the Whirlwind quite nice. We can cap out our Blade Shield to give us a little bit of extra damage and survivability, and then we can put the remainder of our points into Burst of Speed and Weapon Block. Also very important, don't forget to max out Claw and Dagger Mastery. If your resistances are suffering a little bit and you really don't have a lot of gear to fix your resistances, Fade is a great way to fix your resistances and to keep you alive in harder content. Our gear and charms, you know, our charms very simple, just resistances, but our gear very straightforward. You want to have the Chaos Claw to deal all of your damage. You're going to have any source of life and mana leech on any of your gear. Jade Talon gives us an amazing amount of damage, mana leech, all resistances to make our character really nice. Treachery armor to give us that little bit of start to boost to get going until we can get to a fortitude. Any helmet better than lore will do you great. Atma's is probably best in slot for a long time until we have an amp damage claw. Any boots are going to do you wonders. Ideally, you get a Raven Frost or 2 Raven Frost for the extra attack rating. Belt String of Years is going to be really, really, really good. Now, our character, I'm going to cut for a second. I'm going to swap over to the live servers, and I'm going to show you guys what my character looked like on the live servers. Now, my character on the live servers was a little bit more geared. Please forgive my cluttered inventory as I'm prepping for the servers to come down. But my character on the main servers was a little bit more geared. We had our Geed's Fortune, we had our Shadow Discipline skillers because this pumped up our skills, and we had a little bit of resistances, faster hit recovery, Shadow Discipline skills, and these made our character really, really, really powerful. This buffed up our Venom to the absolute moon. Same thing with our Claw and Dagger Mastery. So this is a little bit more on the min-maxy side. We also had a Torch, we had a nice Annihilus with $2 skills, and we had some 320, or ideally 320/20s, and by that I mean attack damage, attack rating, and, you know, dexterity, strength, whatever we can find. Our gear on our character, very straightforward. We did have an F War Fist with our Chaos Claw. This was our bread and butter, like I had mentioned earlier. We did have a nice crafted claw that gave us huge amounts of damage and ignore target defense. We had a G Face to give us a bunch of extra damage. We had a Tyrael's Might for all kinds of damage. String of Years again, Raven Frost, Soul Drainers, Volcatho's Wedding Band, War Traverse, a little bit of Magifying, and Mara's Kaleidoscope. I did have the claws to buff the Venom, but I did misplace them in the hustle and bustle of getting characters ready for migration. But you can see the character in itself is insanely strong. If I were to buff up my character right now, and I were to get my character up and rolling, let's get our Blade Dance on. Our Blade Dance was 9,000 and change, and that's with a bad Venom. If we had a better Venom roll, our character would have way more damage. We'd be over the 10K very easily. We wouldn't have any problems at all. We have nice attack rating. We can hit everything. Our character leveled beautifully to 95. And, you know, just doing content in itself wasn't a problem at all. Now that we have a map, we can just open a map and we can see the difference in what it looks like. So in Venom, we're gonna buff up, and we're just gonna take a look at what's really going on. Where's our Tiger Strike star on F1? Okay, so we're gonna get our Tiger Strike running. We have our buffs going, and you're gonna see we just absolutely decimate these calves. Completely different from the experience that we looked at before, and this is eventually the power that this character can get to, and it's absolutely insane. I had mentioned this was on live servers, and I did manage to get all this gear in season 10. You can actually see my aura from killing D-Clone on this character. I actually killed it with Blade Sentinel. Blade Sentinel. So you Okay, I didn't do it with Whirlwind. Don't get it all mixed up. But you can see that this character has just an absolute insane potential to farm and do all the content in the game without any problems at all. And it's just an absolute wonderful character to play. Very, very, very enjoyable, very fun, gets through all the content at the speed of light, and you're able to farm everything in the game without without any problem. So, I just wanted to kind of give you guys a rundown of what my plan is, what I'm doing, where I'm going with this, or what my day 1, day 2 plan looks like, and what the character will eventually turn into. I wouldn't expect gear like this for a couple of days. Gear like this is definitely going to take you, I don't know, it took me a little while in the last season to be able to get there, but you can get there, you can put this gear together, and you can get it all up and running really, really, really nicely. But friends, if you like this video and you want more content like this, please leave a like, a comment, do all that fun stuff down below. Your interactions and, chats with the stream and the community and everything, they let me know to keep making content like this for you guys. As far as season 11 goes, I will be live during season 11. You can catch me on Twitch, you can catch me on YouTube, you can stop by my Discord, you'll be able to see me there. And if you have any questions, feel free to stop by and ask. But for now, friends, I'm gonna get this video out to you guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.